Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you be. This is Going Streaking. My name is Jed. As always, I'm accompanied by my dear old friend, as always, El Guapo. El Guapo, how you doing today?
Oh, just doing peachy. I'm a little upset. We missed last week's show. I had bronchitis. It wasn't good.
Yeah, unfortunately, we do take sick days on this podcast. I apologize to the community over there. I'm not feeling 100%. Maybe it's because I'm taking something that I should not normally be taking. A little hint and a wink there. But as always, we have something on the menu for you today. El Guapo, tell them what we have today.
Well, we got a jam-packed show coming up for you. We're going to be talking about Major League Baseball playoffs, major sports injuries that are impacting the NBA and the NFL, as well as what's going on in social media. And we're also going to be giving our crying Jordans and our smiling Jordans of the week.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. And here we go. So we're about to get the show started. And we're going to power through to the background. So let's get to it. So with today, I could discuss a little bit about what's been going on with my dear friend being sick. I don't know if you know about a good show that, or maybe I gotta correct myself, movie officially launched its final trailer, and we booked tickets to it not too long ago, right? You booked it for us. What's that show you booked?
What's the movie?
Yeah, what's the movie you booked for us? The pew 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 pew.
You mean the
X-Men fighters? Yeah, or the
Well, if you couldn't guess by the sound effects, Star Wars: The Last Jedi, only the biggest fucking movie event of 2017. So, yeah, we got tickets to opening day. I guess if you wanted to get technical, it's the Friday. It's the second day because you have some theaters opening up on Thursday night. But we got jobs and we do this podcast on Thursday nights, so
we're not sucking our mama's nipples, so we actually have a schedule to follow.
Yeah, so we figured we'd take an early day on Friday and go check it out.
Yeah, I'll be calling out sick that day.
Yeah.
Hopefully my boss doesn't listen to this podcast, which more likely she doesn't, so good.
She'd never be the same.
No. Yeah, so we were really looking forward to it. We had a little conversation once we got the tickets that sorry for those sports fans. We're gonna be geeking out just for a moment, like we told you before when we first started this podcast. We're the show that talks about sports, politics, and pop culture and everything else in between. And we are talking about that pop culture part right now.
I like that Wookiee.
Like that Wookiee. Yes. So that trailer, for those who haven't, that's your prerequisite homework to check out. We were looking at the trailer, and we had some premonitions as to what possibly could be happening in the movie.
Yeah, I think there's either one or two things that's going to happen. I think one is the obvious, which a lot of people are probably assuming, that Kylo Ren, a.k.a. Ben Solo, and Rey are going to somehow be related. I think that's still a possibility, but I think that's almost too obvious. I think because we got to remember here, this is a Disney movie, and what does Disney love to do? They love stories. Beauty and the Beast. Classic Beauty and the Beast. Let's think about this. Kylo Ren, when he first takes hostage of Rey, she's in there and he walks in and Rey calls him a monster. She says, yeah, how do you think I feel being hunted by a hideous monster? Takes off his helmet. Adam Driver, he's got the long hair. A lot of chicks like him. He had a very Prince-like look to him. And if you look at Rey's face, you could tell she was shocked. She had a look on her face like, damn, I think I'd do that. So my thinking is, because Rey is obviously the light, Kylo Ren is the dark, but yet he still has a little bit of light in him, and Rey clearly has a little bit of a dark side. I think this movie is going to dive really deep into the Journal of the Wills and how the Jedi read it wrong. And now I know I'm going deep. This is hardcore geek talk, but what I'm getting at is the Jedi and the Sith had it wrong. It's not about being all the way, of the light side end of the Force, and it's not about being all the way at the end of the dark side of the Force. It's kind of like politics. They say you should really try to find a middle ground. So I think this movie is going to try to give us a message that in life in general, try to find some middle ground. So ultimately, I think Rey and Kylo Ren are going to come together. They're going to be a couple.
Come together in what way?
They're going to be a yin and the yang, and they're going to end up being a couple.
A thing?
That truly brings balance to the Force. The dark and the light both together working side by side. I think they're both going to betray their masters. Rey's going to go away from Luke. Ben is going to go away from Snoke.
Talking about like a Romeo Juliet type of stuff.
Yeah, and think about it. Beauty and the Beast. Belle saved the Beast.
Yeah, but Belle was not, sheboinging her relative.
Well, all I'm saying is I'm not saying that's not a possibility. They could be related. Hell, we saw Luke Skywalker and Princess Leia make out.
They're like, people are watching Game of Thrones. This is like a big thing.
That's what I'm saying. So
it's so popular.
It could be getting kind of freaky in a galaxy far, far away. But the point is, I still firmly believe that because this is Disney, they're going to want to try to force that love story in somewhere because Han Solo's, spoiler alert, in case you haven't seen The Force Awakens, Han Solo's dead. So with that being said, and with Carrie Fisher's passing, what other love story route is there to go? So for me, I think it's obvious when you think about it. And hell, even when Kylo Ren had Rey captured, he told her, "You're my guest." What did they say in Beauty and the Beast? Be our guest.
Oh gosh.
I'm just putting the pieces together, and I can't take full credit for this. I did watch a YouTube video where a guy went pretty much in depth as to why it made sense, but I bought it. I'm not gonna lie. I drank the Kool-Aid. I said that guy's got a point. So for me, I think they're gonna end up being a couple.
So you're telling me that help me out here. I apologize because I'm still getting used to some of the names. The black stormtrooper.
Finn.
Finn, thank you. The guy that sweats all the time. You telling me that he has no shot at all?
It's a trap!
Yeah,
he's friend zoned.
Yeah, he's definitely friend zoned. And I think it's really going to piss him off that she's going for his ex-boss, so to speak.
Yeah.
A guy who fucked him up pretty badly at the end of Force Awakens. So
the fact that he has to fight Captain Phasma in that, in that trailer, he's fighting with the lightsaber. So something that Han has never done. I would say he's kind of like the Han equivalent of this.
Yeah, I think so. I think that, actually,
You disagree?
I don't see, that's the thing. I don't want to know. I don't know if I can say he's the new Han Solo. Maybe he is, but then maybe Poe Dameron is, or maybe Poe Dameron and Finn are both certain aspects of the Han Solo character. Maybe it took two characters to replace one, essentially. But we'll see. To me, I think that's definitely a decent guess, but I could obviously see Finn getting pretty pissed off about it. So we'll just wait and see, but for me, one thing I want to see, no matter if they end up being related or not related, or a couple or not a couple, I want to see Luke Skywalker whip out a lightsaber and just kick some ass. Yeah. That's what I want to see. And don't be surprised we see him whip out Darth Vader's lightsaber. I could see that being a twist, man. You think he's going to whip out that green lightsaber, and boom, he whips out his dad's red lightsaber. Don't ask me how he retrieved it, but man, wouldn't that be something? Holy shit.
All right. So I'm going to throw out something a little fun here. All right. And the listeners can join around on this. So Star Wars always has that signature no moment, right? Anakin did it. Luke did it, right? Even Princess Leia did it at one point. Who has that signature no moment in this movie?
Ooh, that's a good one. You know what? I'm going to go with Ben Solo, Kylo Ren.
Ben Solo?
Kylo Ren, yes. And I say that because if you watch the trailer, they clearly want to make us think that that he does kill Princess Leia. Which I do think that scene is real in the sense that he's provided that opportunity to kill his mother. But in that opportunity...
Too easy, though, to kill her off.
But that's what I'm saying.
When she's dead.
They don't do it. The trailer wanted us to think. But if you watch the trailer, he clearly was conflicted. So my thought is, again, I have no knowledge of anything. This is just my guess to answer your question, Jed. I think that Kylo Ren is going to hear Snoke using the Force telepathy telling him to finish the job. And Kylo Ren in his TIE fighter is going to scream no.
Yeah.
And he's not going to do it. That's my guess.
That's your guess?
That's my guess.
Well, it's funny that you have that perspective, because I'm going to go opposite of you. I want to go on the light side of this whole thing. I'm not going to say Rey says it. I'm going to say Luke says it again.
Okay.
Says no. Because of the fact that he is back in this whole storyline. You know, he was supposed to bring order to the Force. Yeah. I guess because of the fact that his father was the offspring. You know, gave him
Anakin Skywalker.
Skywalker. And he's going to be screaming no, because he just basically spent this 2-year period between movies training Rey, you know, how to use the Force. And she goes the opposite direction of his ways, almost similar to what he did with the Great One himself, Yoda. You know, yep. And I think more in a perspective, in a no sense that she goes in a direction that he didn't expect. Because you were saying that she's gonna be gray, right? Possibly.
Yeah, I think so. I think her and Kylo Ren both ultimately become gray, in the sense that they just embrace the light and the dark.
Yeah.
Although I think Kylo will still have more dark than light, and Rey will have more light than dark. And you know, that actually brings me to another point. I watched Return of the Jedi recently, and as many times as I've watched that movie, I'm almost ashamed to admit that I never noticed this until now.
How recent did you watch it?
Like a week ago. This is a scene.
Just about a week ago.
Where Luke Skywalker enters Jabba's palace in Return of the Jedi. And what ends up happening, I always thought that he used the Force to push those big pig-looking guards, a.k.a. the Gamorrean guards, or Gamorrean guards, however you want to pronounce it. Big pig, ugly-looking guards. I always thought he pushed them. But no, if you watch, they're holding their necks.
Why? He's using the Force against them? Well, they say that he's stronger than Darth.
So this was in Return of the Jedi. So the point I'm trying to make is, Force choke is part of the dark side of the Force.
Okay.
You never saw Jedi using the choke in any other movie. It was only the Sith. You know, okay. Vader... And you know, hell, I don't know if Maul used it, but you know, Vader used it. So to me, looking back at Return of the Jedi, Luke was obviously flirting with the dark side. Mm-hmm. Just look at his clothing; he wore all black. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, if you really think about it, him utilizing that power right then and there, and towards the end of the movie, he used anger in fear that Darth Vader was going to go after Leia, and went to the dark side for that moment when he just beat the shit out of Vader. I mean, and then the Emperor knew it right then and there, saying, "Hey, your journey's complete. Now you're going to replace your father at my side." And you see Luke, he's kind of thinking about it for a moment, but then he sees his hand. It's a black glove, since that's his robotic hand. Yeah. And then he looks at his father's now, you know, his hand that's now been severed, and he realizes, holy shit, I'm becoming my father, but not in a good way. And that's when Luke realized, I'm not going to go down this path. So, to me, Luke Skywalker, I think we're going to see a guy that is more gray than anything else. but ultimately the title, The Last Jedi, he is going to be the true Last Jedi, because what Rey and Ben or Kylo Ren become, they're not going to be classified as Jedi. It's going to be Gray, Bendu, or something else like that.
Some other name.
Yeah, there's going to be some new name. So basically,
play on words.
Yeah. So Last Jedi, I completely believe that Luke Skywalker is going to be the Last Jedi. I'm not saying he's going to die in this movie. I don't think so. I could see them killing him off in Episode 9. But
final fight, you guess?
Yeah, like going out in a blaze of glory, but then at the end of the movie coming back as a Force ghost kind of thing. But I think that it's going to be an awesome movie. To me, I'm extremely excited. It's Star Wars, so,
I just hope that we don't go down the path like you and I had a debate in the first movie where it was a reiteration of A New Hope, and this becomes a reiteration of, Return. What was it? Empire Strikes Back. Why did I freaking have a brain fart? So far, it doesn't have the themes of Empire Strikes Back. There's certain scenes, by the walkers.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously that's a pretty clear homage to Empire Strikes Back, that sequence. I mean, if we were to, argue, if we're, paying homage to Empire Strikes Back or copying something. But outside of that, this movie just seems so bizarre. And I mean that in a great way. Mm-hmm. I mean that with the utmost just sincerity and in a complimentary manner, because, you watch the YouTube reactions and people are blown away. I mean, not just blown away because it's Star Wars, but they're sincerely at a loss for words. A lot of the reactions, including my own, when I watched it, I was in the bedroom and my wife was watching, I don't know, Grey's Anatomy or some shit in the other room. And sure enough, I'm just watching the trailer alone in the bedroom, and at the end, I'm just like, what? And my wife was making fun of me later the next day, saying that I kept saying what and during the trailer. So for me, I've never had a trailer get me that hyped, but also a trailer's never confused the hell out of me the way this one did. Yeah. So I can't see it being another Empire. I see it being something completely unique. But who knows? We got to watch the movie first.
Yeah. Right?
Yep.
So we have basically, I would say today's date is almost the 20th of this month. So we have about basically 2 months. A little less than 2 months to go. So I hope you guys are just as excited as me, because I'm probably going to wear my Lando Calrissian costume that I'll be wearing this Halloween straight into theaters, and probably get kicked out at the Alamo Draft House, because I'm not going to be as cool as the original Lando, nor would I be carrying a Colt 45. So, but that
hey, Colt 45 clearly worked for Lando Calrissian, man. I mean,
it works every time.
Exactly. He was drinking Colt 45 when he helped blow up the Death Star. I guarantee it. That's canon.
Yeah. It was his inspiration. It says, hey, that whole Rebel Alliance that we had to make a movie to prequelize it between two movies, Rogue One. They told me that there was a button to press, so Colt 45 reminded me. So that's the reason why I get inspired all the time. Colt 45 works every time.
It does.
So let's get into sports. That's why we decided to create this podcast in the first place. And I don't know about you, but baseball is in its latter part. And you are a Dear Cubbies fan.
Yeah, I am. I'm just not expecting much. I just saw on Twitter, I think the Dodgers hit a grand slam. Oh boy, this is a straight up ass whooping. It's 9-1, the bottom of the fifth. So,
you're not expecting too much.
Well, no. Okay, man. You can go back to our first podcast when we talked baseball. I said my World Series pick was Dodgers Astros.
Yep.
Which,
Still could possibly happen.
Which, you know, I'm calling church on the Cubbies and Dodgers. But you know what? Hey, Cubs won last year. I mean, the fact that they got close again this year, hey, good season. But
You've had a good 3 years in a row, man.
Absolutely. So I wasn't expecting it. The Dodgers are a fantastic team. So I tried not to let my emotions get to me this series. But anywho, the Dodgers, it looks like it's going to be the Dodgers versus the Yankees unless the Astros find their balls.
We're having that series come back to Texas, our home state, for this podcast. And I think it's too storybook for Houston to fall down and die to the Cinderella story that is the Yankees. Surprisingly, they are not the empire that everybody hates. They are young. There's some people there that, you know, marketable, have actual personality on the Yankees. But Houston Astros representing Houston, as everybody knows, talks about the hurricane. We had a podcast episode, talked about that. And, you know, the fact that you have a 5'6" infielder,
Jose Altuve.
Basically, you know, carry that entire team. Quite impressive. And you have Dallas Keuchel, and you have Verlander.
He laid an egg last night, though.
Well, I know. But there's talent there for a bounce back. And with a lot of series, you know, you have home field advantage for a reason. So the next 2 games, if there is another one, takes place in Houston.
That's true.
I think this is going to go to Game 7, and I'm just going to flip a coin and hope that Houston does win. Because me being a Mets fan, I don't want to hear anybody in New York calling me saying that this is their year and such. Because I went through this, 3 years ago, when the Mets were a Cinderella story. They said that they went ahead of schedule, which they did. Ended up going against Kansas City, got their asses whooped. Daniel Murphy ends up going to Washington the following year, and that's where we lie now. So, hopefully it's not a Dodgers-Yankees World Series.
I think the MLB would love to see that, though.
The 2 largest markets in baseball.
Yeah, I think if you asked, you know, the MLB commissioner and the executives, this is what they would want to see. They would see the dollar signs. But I agree with you. I'm hoping the Astros pull it out. Normally, when I root for a Texas team, I was brought up to be more of a Rangers fan than anything else. Rangers were my AL team, and the Cubs were my National League team. And actually, when the Astros were in the National League, the Astros were kind of like my second team that I'd root for. Like when they went to the World Series, what was that, in like 03, 05? I rooted for them when they got their asses whooped by Ozzie Guillen and his White Sox.
Oh, jeez. Guy murmured everything.
But,
what the hell?
But point is, you know, after all the shit that Houston went through this year, I think that'd be pretty awesome to see them win it all. But, you know, we'll see. Yankees look good, but Houston looked really great up until Game 3. So, like you said, home field advantage. You know, if anything, you could make the argument the pressure's on the Yankees now to close it out.
Yeah.
I mean, you could make that argument, but then you could also say, nope, Yankees could be playing with confidence, winning 3 in a row. So it really just depends on your perspective. You could make an argument either side of the coin, and you wouldn't be wrong. It just really depends on what perspective you're looking at it from. But for Jed and I, we're both neutral on this because our teams aren't involved. Obviously, yes, my Cubbies are technically still in it, but at a 9-1 score in the 5th inning, yeah, it's not happening. Even if they do somehow pull off a miracle, I still think that the Dodgers get it done. So
yeah, and tomorrow, for those who want to keep track, it's Luis Severino, who has been their ace all season, against the Houston Astros ace, Justin Verlander. So that's definitely going to be a battle. Now,
it's still weird for me seeing Justin Verlander in an Astros uniform. So used to seeing him in a Tigers uniform. Is Kate Upton going to be at the game?
Dude, she has such big gonkers.
Yeah, she's got some big old healthy McGuffies on her.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're not trying to be sexist. We're just It's the truth.
It's me being a man, and if you're gonna say that I'm being sexist,
It's
sorry.
locker room talk.
It's locker room talk.
Oh,
yes.
God.
Now, if you're saying that, he shouldn't be talking like that in a podcast, well, this is my own podcast. You have 3,000 bunch of
He's
podcasts.
not Harvey Weinstein, okay?
Yes, I'm not groping boobies. You can smother me with them.
When he
I'll put my
gropes
hands
them,
up.
he asks for permission.
Yes. Yes, and I will be gentle. I will be gentle.
You know, that old free exam trick, you know, you got to stick with what works.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And it's funny because we're talking about fantasies here, and it was kind of like a side conversation discussing what we wanted to talk about, like, in regards to, like, life kind of stuff. Usually we talk about one little topic in regards to relationships or whatever it may be. And I was talking to my dear friend here, thinking fetishes, like, oh yeah. So, everybody has one. Everybody has something that I wouldn't say grinds the gear. I would say it lubes the gear. So, and
hello, what have we here?
That's how Jed sounds when he's hollering at women.
I can't even do a wolf whistle. It's kind of sad. But yeah, everybody has them, and I've seen people have weird fetishes like cosplay, dress up as Princess Leia, you know, in that signature slave outfit that she has. Or if you're really kinky into this, there's people out there that dress up as furries.
It's a trap!
It's a trap. And I guess my fetish, just to lay it out there. I guess just to lay it out there, my fetish is basically, you know, I like to role play.
What, like you're the doctor and
Yeah, you know, just like me pretending to be somebody that I'm not. Like, it doesn't need to be cosplay to an extreme. Granted, it could be like, for example, like if you ever seen Modern Family. Phil Dunphy and his wife all the time on Valentine's Day. They go to the hotel and act as strangers.
Oh yeah.
That's the kind of thing that I like, because, you know, it spices up the relationship. You could be innovative, you could be creative, you could be a spy, you could be, you know, the janitor, for crying out loud, or you could be the UPS man.
I got a bad feeling about this.
I don't know, man.
You know, deliver a package and say, "Hey babe, what can Brown do for you?"
That's not how the Force works.
Yeah, or something there, you know. And that's just my thing. I don't know. What about you, man?
Excuse me. You know, I don't know if it's really a fetish, man. I mean, I'm kind of, you know, an old-fashioned kind of guy.
You do missionary and that's it.
Not necessarily. It's
The
just
man, the innovator of the sneaky.
I mean, I think the sneaky is about as crazy as it gets for me.
Yeah. Tell the world about what the sneaky is, because I don't think this is actually the first time we actually get to talk about it.
Yeah, you know, it's one of those things. You know, there's already another name for this, but I think it just sounds dirty. With sneaky,
It's clever.
yeah, you know, it's you don't feel like you need a shower after it, but essentially what it is. Now, we are pro LGBTQ. You know, we want listeners of all types of sexual orientation, race, creed, whatever, religion. But I'll just go ahead and keep this to where it's gender neutral. But basically, it's whenever you're going down on your significant other. It's, you know, you're doing your thing. And you go down south, a little more south.
South of Winter?
Yeah. And, you know, you tongue punch the fart box, so to speak. And, hey, but preferably this is a move you do out of the shower. It's a relationship move. Unless, you know, maybe it's a one-night stand and you find this individual really attractive and it's like, hey, you don't smell anything stanky back there, then, hey, when in Rome, let your freak flag fly.
Let that one night turn at least to a second night.
I will say this. The sneaky is one of those moves, though. If you do it, I guarantee you that person's going to remember you.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's mainstream. Maybe it is, but I've spoke to some people that they're scared of it, to be quite honest. They hear it, they're like, oh, that's gross, like pumpkin pie. Or what does one of our buddies say? Rat could taste like pumpkin pie, but he'll never know.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, the fact that you're comparing a woman's anus to a rat, that's just a horrible.
How are you even getting laid, period, if you're comparing it like that?
Well, our buddy, man, I don't know. I mean, he's waiting on
who I think it is?
on Haley's Comet. So,
Has that person been on the podcast before?
No, I don't think so.
No, okay.
But anyways, me.
Inside joke.
Yeah.
We're violating a podcast rule, but for the secret identity to be kept secret, we are not going to reveal who that person is. So.
But anyways, point is, I think that's about as crazy as it gets for me, man.
And I'd like to thank you for at least introducing me to what the sneaky is, because I've done it. Let's just say I've done it before. I'm not gonna say how many times.
And you got a reaction, right?
I got a reaction.
You're probably the first one.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm sadly gonna say I thought about you for that one glimmer second, because I had you in my mind like it's
Like I was coaching you.
You're
for motivation. Like I was there
like
saying
you're Obi-Wan Kenobi.
So basically,
like you're Obi-Wan Kenobi.
So instead of saying use the
Luke.
Force, you just heard me saying do the sneaky, Jed.
Do the sneaky, Jed. And I did it, and she turned around and looked at me like, whoa, oh, hi there, that's nice. And no, I didn't go downtown with Charlie Brown for a long period of time. It was just a good
Was it
five.
like that?
You can do it!
Yeah.
You can do it! You can do it! You can do it. You can do it! 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 You can do it!
Yeah, it was like that. It was a good 5
I'm sorry,
to
that
10
never gets
seconds.
old. Rob Schneider from
No.
The Waterboy. I love this.
I'd like to see his stand up one day if he ever does anything. But yeah, it was a good 5-10 seconds, and it got the reaction it needed. And let's just say she'll never forget that moment. She liked it. She talks about it, so it's not embarrassing.
And she still comes back around for seconds every now and then too.
If I haven't done the sneaky since.
But just that one time, listen, folks, if you do the sneaky to your significant other, and let's say they're not even an official significant other, let's say it is that first or second date, I guarantee you it's going to lead to more dates. I promise. It is 1,000% guaranteed, or your money back. I promise you. Like I said, or you could do another move. Now you got me going down a rabbit hole here. If you really want to get freaky, now this is more so for women than anything else. For a man to do to a woman, but there is one move where if you like doing oral, I call it the chin strap.
Gosh golly gee willikers, zippity jippity doo, Batman. Those policemen are pretty rude, Robin.
Hey, if you do the chin strap, it's basically a move where you get your two thumbs, and here I am doing the motion like you can watch me, but just imagine taking your two thumbs and put your two thumbs underneath your chin, and basically have your thumbs in a position where they're holding your chin, and then you're going to take your two pinkies, and your two pinkies are going to go in the butt.
Take notes. Let's go.
So you got two pinkies going in the butt. Now it's going to make a funny sound, but don't panic. It's okay. And you get some lube, and then you're going to take your index fingers. You're going to put them together, and you're going to shove those up the kitty, up the vajayjay, the vagina, whatever you call it. And
The church.
So basically, you're going to have a total of 4 fingers in there, two in the pink and 2 in the stink, and your tongue is going to be massaging the clitoris while your thumbs are holding up your chin, thus calling it the chin strap because it provides a comfortable method for you to rest your chin down there, but also have your fingers where they need to go. And I'm telling you, women love that. I promise you.
Now,
or you know, if your girlfriend's apprehensive about, you know, the fingers in the butt, just do one finger. It's just the pinky.
yeah. Now, it's probably best if you do the chin strap before the sneaky because, you know, the chin
that's
strap
true.
Chin strap is a good setup.
Yeah.
It's a, you know,
Yeah. You do the sneaky, then the chin strap. It's a good segue.
yeah.
But yeah, you do those moves to your lady, I guarantee you will be among the cocksmiths of the world.
I'd be like thanking Mr. El Guapo here for the good advice.
I promise you. I had a good buddy of mine. He's living in Colorado now. He actually texted me not that long ago.
Yeah.
He was one of the naysayers of the sneaky. Said
Yeah.
he'd never do it. Texted me one day just to tell me that he did it. And she loved it. His fiance. And let me tell you something. He told me she loved it. And I said, dude, I told you. And he actually said he enjoyed doing it too. So I thought that was beautiful. To me, that's heartwarming. And I know many of you think this guy's a sick motherfucker. Hey, I'm sorry. You know, people performing sexual acts with the ones they love, I think that's a beautiful thing. I don't know what's disgusting about that.
No, I don't test that at all.
No, I know. I'm just saying if somebody's listening, they're like a sick pervert.
You guys are sick perverts if you think what this guy has just shared to you, which is great sound advice. You know, all that glitter is gold.
Yeah, spice up your marriage, spice up your love life, spice up your relationship. Mm-hmm. Whether, you know, hey, just saying.
Try it.
Don't knock it till you try it. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. You are a true American hero.
You know, it's things like that keep me going, man. But that's just the kind of guy I am. That's the cross I bear. Every morning I have to wake up, look at myself in the mirror, and be that guy.
Says, why am I so this damn sexy?
Yeah, it's a tough life.
It's a curse.
Yep, it's and you know, and here's the funny thing, folks. I'm a happily married man. Got a child, got a dog, got a house. You know, I'm daddy. But you know, the thing is, before I was a happily married man, you know, I played the field quite a bit. I had my fair share of success, and more than my fair share of failures. You know, it's funny. My friends, you know, back in the day, they'd freak out because they'd see me when I was having success. Say, how do you do it? And I would always say, man, it's pretty simple. Just be yourself.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to be yourself. Because here's my philosophy, especially you single guys out there. If you see someone you're interested in talking to, say hello. Because you know what? You never know. That person might actually be interested in getting that cup of coffee with you or going to dinner. And if not, if they say no, then say, all right, well, you know, have a good one. Because ultimately, it's the shots you don't take, you can't make.
Exactly.
So, yeah, you got to take a shot, man.
And the girls, believe it or not, like it better where you are actually blunt and say, hey, you walk up to her, you probably go from one side of the room and walk all the way down there to say hi to her. Say, hey, you know what? I couldn't help but just say hi. I wanted to introduce myself. That's all. Just a simple, blunt hello. I couldn't help but want to introduce myself goes a very, very
absolutely
far way.
No, I agree 100%. Or you know what? If you have a sense of humor and you notice something funny and you want to, you know, don't say, hey, you know, was your daddy a meat burglar? Because it looks like somebody shoved 2 fine hams up the back of your pants or dress. Don't. I'm not talking that kind of funny. I'm talking like, hey, you know, I didn't know Scarlett Johansson was in town today. Can I take a selfie with you, or can I take a picture? I mean,
a nice compliment. Nice,
you know, and just and she might think it's corny, but laugh and appreciate the fact that you weren't being a creeper. And hell, Tinder's around now. Tinder wasn't around back in my day. Tinder was around. I probably would have ended up having an STD or something, man. I mean, I think we saw a comedian recently that talked about Tinder.
Yeah.
And, oh, God, was it Roy Wood?
I believe it was Roy Wood.
I think it was Roy Wood Jr.
I'm a stud. Is that what you're talking about when you're swiping right?
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where now you could get laid anytime you want. Back when I was single, and I know some of our friends have told us stories, you had to, and it was the same for me, you had to get dressed up, go out to the bar and look your best and find someone you want to talk to, buy them a drink, and at the end of the night, hope to get a phone number. Mm-hmm. And you get that phone number, basically it was round 2, was the next date, and it was a process. But now, you could be sitting in your underwear scratching your balls, or if you're a girl, you could be scratching your crotch, and go on Tinder or Grindr or whatever site is your fancy, and have sex that night.
Yeah.
I mean, like, delivered to you, basically, or you deliver yourself to them. And to me, that's just nuts.
And not to get too much in a deep, serious conversation. I actually had a conversation with somebody talking about this, that this generation of kids, I wouldn't even just say the kids, millennial process, I would say just people in society right now have become handicapped when it comes to instant satisfaction. Like, when, there's no more taking the time to enjoy and live in the moment. Now it's more that instant satisfaction. Internet, mobile phones, the fact that I could binge watch an entire season of a TV show in 2 days has become what is considered an addiction. People can become addicted to their cell phone.
Absolutely.
For the instant satisfaction that phone
think
provides
about it.
you.
I'm pulling up Star Wars soundboard right now. It took me 2 seconds. If I wanted to pull up porn, I could do that right now. If I wanted to pull up a sports score, I could do that right now. If I wanted to watch a movie, I could do that right now. I mean, all that is so available. And it's so funny because, speaking of, kind of going back into pop culture a little bit, I don't know if you folks know this, but there's a new Terminator movie in the works.
Are you serious?
You didn't know about this?
No, I didn't.
Okay, this is fact. Arnold's come out. James Cameron's come out. So James Cameron, he directed the original Terminator film as well as the sequel, which many folks, including myself, I put myself in this box, believe that Terminator 2 Judgment Day was a superior movie to Terminator. Jed's giving me a look, so I guess he doesn't feel that way.
No.
Point is, but you could admit that they were both good movies, right? Sorry, wrong pipe.
Respectable.
Okay. Point is, James Cameron, he sold the rights, and now he got the rights back to the movie. So Terminator Genesis, the one with Christian Bale, Salvation, and Rise of the Machines are no longer going to be canon. So this movie, they're not going to call it Terminator 3, but it's going to be a Terminator movie.
Is it going to be called Terminator or something else?
It's going to be called Terminator something, but it's going to basically ignore the previous 3 movies. James Cameron already is on the record saying that those movies could be looked at one of 2 ways: nightmares,
alternate universe,
or alternate dimensions, timelines, universe, whatever you want to say. So
it's like Christian Bale's Batman.
Yeah. So there we are. So Linda Hamilton, Sarah Connor, is coming back. Apparently, she's in the gym as we speak, getting ready. Of course, no, seriously, that's what they were saying. Arnold is obviously coming back again, and Jim Cameron. So he's going to be taking a break from making those 10 Avatar movies that he said he was going to be making.
Yeah, where are those damn movies?
Actually, as a matter of fact, Jim Cameron's just going to be producing and writing the story. Tim Miller, the director of Deadpool, is actually going to be directing this movie. So Tim Miller is set to direct, and Jim Cameron to produce. I'm looking forward to it. Listen, I even like Terminator Genesis. I mean, Emilia Clarke, Sarah Connor, my God.
One, James Cameron is like double dipping here. One, you could go to Universal Studios and dabble and enjoy Terminator. The other one,
that was cool.
Right.
I don't know if it was a ride. It was more like a sit down experience, but it was cool.
And the other has its own like land in the whole Disney World in Animal Kingdom, the land of Pandora. Yeah. So
I never saw that movie. I never saw Avatar.
well, just think of it like Dances with Wolves.
That's what everybody told me. It was
Meet
Dances
Smurfs.
with Wolves with blue guys.
with Smurfs, tall Smurfs.
Yeah.
So, but we gone totally sideways on how we wanted to progress on this podcast. But let's take the steering wheel and put it in the right gear and talk about sports. I don't know about you, but I'm a big fan of basketball, NBA, and the NFL, which I know you are. Cowboys had a bye, so we don't have much to discuss there. So,
Hey,
there's a
your Jets, man, they almost pulled off the upset.
You know what I wish could happen? The fact that Josh McCown's been somewhat a decent quarterback, I wish he got hurt instead of Aaron Rodgers, so my Jets can embrace the tank. And that's what we want to talk about. We want to talk about injuries here, and I guess more in the fact that how injuries happen and how you've been impacted as a fan by injuries. I have a couple of injuries that I could talk about, but I'm just gonna stick to one. But for those who've been living underneath their mama's sofa and eating Pringles or Funyuns, Aaron Rodgers went down this past weekend.
And not down on Olivia Munn.
No, not down on Olivia Munn. He was sacked, and he had a 300-pound man on top, missionary style, take him down and take his collarbone off. And then,
Yeesh.
ooh, I know, right? And then you had in basketball.
I think that was all the Packers fans when it
Hey,
happened.
where was that when I was talking about the Citrus No segment? You know?
Oh, whoops.
Whoops. So then we also have in the NBA, Gordon Hayward, who was supposed to be the basketball Jesus for the Boston Celtics. Celtic pride.
This party's over.
Yeah, he said, "Hey, Paul George, I know this happened to you 5 years ago for Team USA basketball. Hold my beer. I'm gonna fuck up my leg just as bad as you did."
But I was going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a shame, man. Gordon Hayward, he seems like a good guy. I think he was definitely going to make Boston somebody to watch this year in the Eastern Conference. And, for me, I just think it's really sad that, his injury basically gives Cleveland a simpler path to the NBA Finals. Not saying Cleveland's going to win. I still think it's going to be the Warriors. Hope I'm wrong. But, again, it's just a shame. I mean, don't get me wrong, Boston's still going to be the second best team in the East. But their chances of beating Cleveland
have it come dwindle. Unless
they were there, but it wasn't a great chance. And now the chance is just lowered. So, but you know what? Hey, you never know what happens. Mm-hmm. Derrick Rose, you never know what's going to happen with his health. Isaiah Thomas could come back and screw up his hip again. So there's a lot of things that could happen to Cleveland too. So it's a long season. We'll wait and see. But with Rodgers, as a Cowboys fan, I thought to myself, why couldn't this have happened before we played him?
2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah,
Or during your game.
Yeah. And I know I sound like a fucking prick because I shouldn't wish anything bad on anyone, but that guy's broken my heart so many times, and not in a romantic way. I'm talking, I called out to work the next day when the Des Bryant catch didn't happen. I just remember sitting on the sofa, and my wife, then fiance, she said I started crying, not like sobbing, but I had tears come down, and I just was kind of quiet. I mean, you would have thought a relative died that day because I thought that was really our best shot to get to the Super Bowl that year, and it was just so disappointing, man. DeMarco Murray was, he had 2,000 yards rushing that year. Tony Romo, I think he threw 36 touchdowns to 8 picks that year. He had the best year of his career. Des Bryant had one of the better years of his career. But, of course, as usual, the Cowboys' defense sucked ass, which it still sucks ass. But it just sucked knowing that, despite that bad defense. But who knows? Maybe the touchdown. Maybe they call it a touchdown, and Aaron Rodgers goes down and does an Aaron Rodgers and wins at the last second. So we'll never know. Yeah. But point is, fuck Aaron Rodgers. I kind of laughed when the injury happened. Sorry, not sorry. So I'm kind of happy the Packers are going to suck for a minute.
Yeah. Did you see that Sports Illustrated had 4 cover athletes on their preseason coverage for the NFL, and 3 out of the 4 athletes that they had featured on there are out for the rest of the season.
No, so it's Sports Illustrated curse?
Yeah. Not the Madden curse. Who is on the Madden cover? Brady, right? Shit. It's kind of funny because he still is going to be part of the subject that I'm talking about right now. David Johnson is on the cover. Then Aaron Rodgers is also on the cover.
Damn.
And I'm trying to pull up here. Tom Brady is like the one person that is on that cover list that is not Jinx currently. And I trying to pull
Well, we still got time, right?
I pray, man, because you think it'd be
Fuck
like
Tom Brady,
think it'd be like a double whammy that this guy would be taken down. But however, he still stands to this day as, I guess, unscathed by both the Madden and Sports Illustrated curse. So just letting y'all know that it's possible. So he has become a double whammy. I'm trying to remember who the 4th guy is. I'll probably start looking through while we're talking in the podcast. So I hate to be a guy that brings up a stat and fill it unblanked. So but yeah, that's.
I'm just checking out some of the NBA scores right now.
Oh gosh, don't look at that Knicks score.
Yeah, that one's getting kind of ugly. It looks like the Raptors had their way with the Bulls, 117-101. And shoot, that I think that and the Knicks Knicks Thunder are the only games being played this. This is gonna be a good one. Actually starts in a couple of minutes. Clippers Lakers.
Ooh,
but is Lonzo playing?
Lonzo may be playing.
See, I want to watch.
The 4th guy was J.J. Watt, so yeah.
Oh, well, that means there's still time for Brady to fuck up.
Please.
Come on, Tom Brady. Come
fucked.
on. You can get hurt. I know you can.
You're trying to use a soundboard.
Trying. This is what happens when you're drinking on the job.
Yeah, and that brings to our alcohol sponsor today. It's Bushmills Irish Whiskey. We had Grangestone Grangestone still remains supreme. Just letting you know. Grangestone remains supreme, unbeaten so far. Kind of messed us up on an entire podcast that I was so angry that I refused to try to post. I know my dear friend wanted me to post that one. I said too many real names in that podcast.
It was so good, though. I still think you should post it.
Yeah, the last one was Kettle One, which we had Moscow Mules, which is my favorite drink to make, and now it's Bushmills, which hasn't hit us as hard. So Bushmills, you're kind of disappointing me right now, but we appreciate you for bringing the spirit to the podcast. Who is that?
Oh, it's Lauren Cohen from Walking Dead.
So Lauren Cohen, Glenn's, wife or widow. Yeah, speaking of which, Walking Dead is actually starting this Sunday.
I know, I'm excited.
Yeah, you're probably one of very few people who, wow, I'm getting so distracted by this podcast. In this podcast by Lauren Cohen. Wow. And she's British, so...
I don't know. Her accent's kind of funky because she spent some time in the States and then went back to Britain, back and forth. So her accent is very broken. Like when she speaks, it kind of freaks me out because it almost sounds like she's an American doing a horrible impression of a British person.
Is it because she's been Americanized by the city of Atlanta?
I think she should just stick with her Maggie country girl accent.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, doesn't matter. But kind of going back into, the sports talk, obviously the start of the NBA, I think we already basically conceded the Warriors are gonna take it. But in terms of, I want to get to our crying Jordans of the week. This is one of our favorite segments where I'm sure many of you are familiar with the crying Michael Jordan memes that are out there. Heck,
Will
you
never
can follow
die.
Crying Jordan on Instagram. Those guys come up with some great stuff. But anyways, to me, there were several candidates for me. You could go with from the past weekend in college football, the injuries in the NFL, injury in the NBA.
Texas football.
For me, I'm actually going to go with Gordon Hayward. And I know and I don't mean that to be an asshole, but to me, that's a huge crying Jordan, man. The guy just signed a huge contract, was expected to help the Boston, I was about to say the Cleveland Celtics, the Boston Celtics compete for a championship, and you get hurt your first game, not even 5 minutes into the game. I mean, that sucks, man. That fucking blows. Not only does that blow for him, that blows for the franchise, that blows for the fans, his teammates, you name it, his family. So for me, he's my crying Jordan of the week just because that's so brutal. I mean, so brutal.
That's a pretty good one, my friend. It's kind of hard to contest it, but I did have one that I told you off podcast airwaves, but it's kind of sad that I'm gonna change it up and just say, go pretty fast, and I'm gonna change it up and say my crying Jordan of the week is probably NFL fans. In general, only because I bring this topic up. There was an epic play that impacted the New York Jets and Patriots game this past Sunday. The fact that we already don't know what defines a catch in the end zone.
We really don't.
And now we don't know what is a touchdown when we knock down a pylon. Everybody is screaming collusion. Everybody's screaming what the fuck is a fumble now, because Austin Seferian-Jenkins, who's been sober since the end of last year, has redeemed himself as the tight end for New York Jets, was carrying the football, 2 Patriots on his back, trying to cross the pylons, and was basically tackled in the process. One of the Patriots, Malcolm Butler, kind of poked the ball, and he was able to regain possession just before he hit the pylon. Everybody thought it was a touchdown. Somehow, some way, the officials called it a touchdown on the field, right? And after reviewing the play, because every touchdown does get reviewed, they say that Austin Seferian-Jenkins fumbled the football and forcing a touchback. Now, when I think of fumble, I'm thinking anybody has a right to get this ball.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
The defender can get the ball. The offensive lineman.
Anyone.
Anybody can get the damn ball. But the ball never came out of his hands. Completely. Mm-hmm. He may have, played with it, so to speak. Gingerly touched it. Did a little finger dilly talk with the ball. But it never came out of his possession. But to this day, I say again, my crying Jordan, just to sum it all up, not to go on a tangent. My crying Jordan is NFL fans because of the fact that we are sick and tired of the Patriots benefiting from bullshit calls by the referees. That goes from the tuck rule, that goes to this play. The only way that they do not benefit from calls is if they're facing the New York Giants. And sadly, my Jets were green, not blue.
Your Jets have a better record, though.
Than your Cowboys, yes.
And the Giants.
Yes.
Hey, you already know my thoughts. If the Cowboys blow it the rest of the year, if that means Jason Garrett gets fired and they get a stud draft pick, all right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, let's go to Smiling Jordans. Yeah.
Hey, what about the Love Gun?
Who sings this song?
Kiss.
Sorry, I'm not
You
Jewish.
pull the finger of my love. You pull the trigger. Pull my finger. Pull the finger. So, I mean, this song is clearly a metaphor for, grabbing a wang. But anyways, say that again.
You're smiling Jordan.
Okay, my smiling Jordan of the week is my Dallas Cowboys' own Zeke the Freak Elliott, who everyone thought he was going to be suspended for sure this weekend, but because he apparently has the greatest legal team since Johnny Cochran and OJ's squad of lawyers.
Damn, how we never make OJ a smiling Jordan, especially on October 1st.
I think it's that because that's when I was sick that week.
Yeah.
So that would have been the smiling Jordan. But anyways, I give it to Zeke because he's going to get to play this Sunday. So good for him.
Mm-hmm. My smiling Jordan is actually pretty active right now. When I mean active, he is playing as we do this podcast. It is Carmelo Anthony. He's playing the New York Knicks, and he is getting his most wanted revenge. He said earlier this week that Phil Jackson would have traded him for a bag of chips. I told my dear friend before the podcast he would have traded him for a bag of bagel chips. So even worse than regular, I guess Wise chips or Ruffles if you like Ruffles out there. And as we are doing this podcast, the score is final. Knicks got their asses kicked by over 21 points.
Russell Westbrook had a triple-double, 21 points, 16 assists, and 10 boards.
Do you expect anything less than Russell Westbrook getting a triple-double? Carmelo Anthony finishes the game with 22 points. He was 8 for 20, so he didn't have a great shooting night. But he did beat his team. His former team, he had 2 steals.
How much did Paul George have?
2 blocks. Paul George had 28 points.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's still looking good.
So he combined for what, 71 points?
Between those three guys, shoot, they got over 75 points. It's crazy. None of them cracked 30, but quite impressive nonetheless. And just so everybody wants to know,
Porzingis, 31.
Porzingis is on his way to become an all-star this year.
Is he a center or is he playing power forward?
He was playing power forward.
Oh, Cantor's playing center.
Yeah, Porzingis had 31 points. He had 2 3-pointers. He had 12 rebounds.
And what, Tim Hardaway, the $100 million man?
Well, he was 75.
Oh.
So he didn't get as big of a deal as Embiid did a couple of days ago. Embiid played less games than Tim Hardaway Jr.
True.
He's making more money than him.
Tim Hardaway with 8 points. Jesus.
That's a crying Jordan right there.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Oh, shit.
It looks like Porzingis and Cantor are the only ones that showed up to play.
Yeah, look. 10 points by Cantor. He's the only other Knick other than Porzingis to hit double digits.
Well, Courtney Lee missed it by a point.
That's kind of sad and pathetic. But let's start closing this podcast off. We're going to start going into our NFL picks. What do you got showing here?
Well, apparently there was just a crazy play. Kansas City had a 63-yard touchdown pass from Alex Smith to something called A. Wilson. I don't know who that is.
That's what we call a fantasy vulture. You didn't have him on your fantasy team at all.
Oh, no. So, look at that. One of the Oakland Raiders defensive backs just tipped that ball. I mean, that was going to be an incomplete pass.
That's
good defense. Tipped it in the air, and the ball just bounced right in front of that receiver, and he was all alone.
Number 12 did his best Antonio Brown impersonation right there.
Albert Wilson the second.
The second of his name.
I just went to his Twitter. I've never heard of that guy, but Albert the Wilson of the second probably going to be on the top plays of the 4-letter network tonight, I would imagine.
I agree. Now, so let's play that Sam Spence music, my dear friend. If you could pull it up.
Sam Spence.
Sam Spence is the guy who made the music for. I'm not saying Sam Hunt. I'm not trying to get it good. Sam Spence is the guy that made the music for NFL films.
Oh.
Wow, you got a big brain fart there.
Yeah, that wasn't good. That was not good at all.
See, look, I just taught everybody. If they're wanting to listen to something,
Here we go. So we got our NFL picks. I guess our first pick will have to be between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Oakland Raiders. That game is going on right now.
Well, Kansas City's winning, but I would have picked them anyway. So.
Yeah. So yeah. So yeah, I think they're gonna bounce back after losing last week to the Giants. No, it wasn't the Giants. Did they lose to?
They lost to a shit team.
A very shit team. It doesn't matter. It's not even worth
Yeah.
talking about them. But they are gonna bounce back. Sorry, we're losing credibility here. I will give credit to Bushmills for kicking in. So the next game, we have ourselves the Ravens at the Vikings. Who you got?
Both teams are suspect. The Vikings have a defense. I'm hoping Teddy Bridgewater can come back for them. But, I'm going to go Vikings.
Vikings? I would say so. It seems as
Even though it's Case Keenum, I'm still going Vikings.
Yeah. I think the Vikings, even though they don't know who their answer is at quarterback,
They got a defense and they got some, decent running game.
and their three quarterbacks that play are respectable, actually, believe it or not.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would agree with you that Vikings win this game. Next, which would have been actually game of the week if Aaron Rodgers was playing, the Saints are at Green Bay.
You got to go with the Saints. The Saints got a suspect defense, but if you're talking Drew Brees versus Brett Hundley, you got to go Drew Brees all day long.
Yeah, it's the daytime, so I think the sun will be out. It's not November, so it will not be cold in the frozen tundra. It will be autumn in the frozen tundra. Drew Brees and the Saints' potent offense with Alvin Kamara. And
You think the Saints are regretting letting Adrian Peterson go after what he did last week?
I think so. They went youth movement, so they probably do regret it. But guess what? They got a draft pick out of it. Saints still win this game.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes. So we got next game. My dear Jets, Jets at the Dolphins. Jay Cutler, the diabetes quarterback that is.
Well, Smokin' Jay played fairly well. Who'd they beat last week? They beat a good team.
The Hawks? No, it's the Falcons.
Yeah, well, you got a bird. A bird.
They got birds in Atlanta, minus the Braves,
Yeah.
But yeah, so they beat the Falcons.
But you know what? I'm picking the Jets, man.
Yeah. I want the Jets to lose. I've been rooting for the tank, Tank, Tank.
Oh, man.
But
we're playing Smokin' Jay Cutler, and Jay had a good game last week, so that means he's gonna have a bad game this week.
oh yeah, it's just sad. Yeah, Jets are gonna win this. Man, can we not disagree on something yet?
I don't know, man. It's a pretty cut and dry week.
Yeah, Panthers at Bears.
Mitch Trubisky has proven me wrong. I know it's only one game, but I thought he was going to be the second coming of Ryan Leaf. And he actually looked pretty good last week. But I still think the Panthers are the better team, so I'm picking the Panthers.
Yeah. Ever since, being a male misogynistic character, Cam Newton has found his Super Bowl type form, I will say Panthers will win this game as well. Next game, Cardinals at Rams.
This is going to be a good one, I think. Obviously, you have a rejuvenated Adrian Peterson. Cardinals do have a solid offense. Their defense has always been pretty solid. But, I still, the Rams look good, man. I'm going with the Rams at home.
This is the first time I'm probably going to take a swing at going against you. I say Adrian Peterson is going to show the naysayers, that is the New Orleans Saints, that they made a big mistake. And the fact that Carson Palmer is still, respectable. And Larry
I think
Fitzgerald.
it'll be a close game.
Yeah, I'm going with the Cards on this one.
All right. I
Sorry.
mean, for me, it was a kind of a toss, but it'll be a good one.
Yeah. Normally this game would be like poo-pooed, but this is the Buccaneers-Bills game. This is actually a pretty decent two teams.
Yeah, the Bills are kind of a surprising team. The Buccaneers have an exciting young offense. I'm picking the Buccaneers, man.
All right. Bills, they're at home, so they play always well over in the Orchard Park.
Oh, yeah.
Tyrod Taylor.
They're Canada.
They're in Canada. I actually say Bills have this one.
They might. I mean, to me, that's another one of those coin flip games.
Yeah.
I don't know if one team is, significantly better than the other.
I'm happy that you and I cannot be in synergy all the time, The Jaguars and Colts game. This is... Should we even talk about this one?
I mean, I think you got to go the Jags.
Yeah? Jacoby Brissett's been respectful for the Colts, though. But, nah.
The Jags have a good defense. So.
Besides the fact that they have no quarterback, Jags still have a chance to win this game.
Exactly.
Yep. Next game. Titans, Browns. Honey dipping this one?
I mean, I think it's clearly going to be the Titans.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Honey Nut Cheerios, the Browns will be, and I'm choosing the Titans to win this game. Yay! Your Cowboys are back in town. Not here in Dallas, but they're back to play football. And I guess it's a good bounce back game for them. The fact that they've lost, they almost lost Zeke, but they're playing, what's his name, C.J. Beathard?
Something called C.J. Beathard or Beathard or Beathard or
B. Arthur?
Or Beathard? Beatard?
Batard.
Batard. No, really.
Butt hard.
Beathard.
We're trying too hard. We don't give a crap about the quarterback for the 49ers. But it's the Cowboys going to Cali.
They're probably going to make him look like the second coming of Aaron Rodgers. So I'm going to say the Cowboys by 3.
Cowboys beating the Golden Girls by touchdown.
Yeah, but they'll make him look awesome. I guarantee it.
Yeah. Here's a good one. Bengals, Steelers in Pennsylvania.
It's going to be the Steelers.
Yeah? Because they're at home?
Yep.
Yeah, I say that even though Big Ben is shadow himself, Steelers are going to... Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown, they're going to show up.
Yep.
3 touchdowns between them. Steelers. Next game. Seahawks at Giants.
Gotta go with the Seahawks, man.
For real? Yeah. Well, even though you got Russell Wilson with no offensive line.
I mean, Eli doesn't have much of an offensive line, nor does he have any receivers.
I
heard, things are bad when Victor Cruz, he wants to go back, but they don't want him.
I got offered a contract to play for the New York Giants by getting a season supply of, Chick-fil-A.
Hey.
Yeah, they couldn't afford it. So, I'm going Seahawks also. Here's another great game. Broncos-Chargers.
You know what, man? I'm actually going to go with the upset special here, especially after what the Broncos did last week, losing to the Giants. But, Giants do have a good D. Give them that. I'm going to go with the Chargers in an upset. Wait, hold on. Where are they playing?
They're playing in an empty stadium, StubHub Field.
Okay, well, Chargers are still not playing in Denver, so I'm going Chargers.
All right, I'm going to disagree with you here. Broncos bounce back to win this game.
Alrighty.
So, we are reimagining the Super Bowl from last year. Falcons at Patriots.
I think Falcons, they take it because they're pissed off, and I think this is going to be their way of exercising the demons. And plus, I just love seeing Tom Brady fail, so I'm going with Falcons.
Yeah, I'd say the Falcons are going to learn from what the Jets did last week. They're going to put pressure on Tom Brady and make sure that they don't get a 28-point lead. They'll keep it close, win by a field goal. And this is the last game of the week. We have a good, potent matchup. Redskins at the Eagles.
Well, them both being in the NFC East, I wish there was a way both teams could lose. But ultimately, I'm going with the hated Philadelphia Eagles to win this game.
Damn. This is like choosing between kissing your sister or your cousin. For you, not me. I will say...
What if they're both good looking? I'm just kidding.
The fact that I had to think about it is kind of weird.
Well, you're the Game of Thrones fan.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I'm rooting for you like that Kirk Cousins to make the upset. I don't like to call them by their names. The Washington Football Club. I say that they win this game.
Yeah.
By
2 touchdowns. How about that?
I guess so.
Well, that basically is our picks. And this concludes this podcast. The only one thing that we didn't get to talk about is that the draft will be in this state next year.
Yeah, Dallas, Texas.
Yes.
Or Arlington.
Jerry
World.
So, I'm looking forward to actually making a road trip there. I know you could probably.
I want to make it happen. I talked to JT about it, so
You talked to JT? Oh,
but
guys trip, field trip. So,
but this song, did you know it's about masturbation?
oh, that's why my face turns Japanese, y'all. Japanese is my ooh face.
I mean, seriously. You look at the lyrics. I've got your picture of me and you. You're right, I love you too. And I sit there staring, and there's nothing else to do. He's staring at her picture. Nothing else to do. And then he's turning Japanese because his eyes are getting kind of... He's jerking off.
Man, the fact that he makes himself climax, I don't climax when I do that, but like whatever makes you go, buddy.
I hope Japanese people were offended.
I don't know, they could see it coming. It's a double entendre there. double entendre.
Alrighty, well, I think that about wraps it up for the podcast this week. I know we definitely got to some rated R type stuff, but you know, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, like we always do when we start this podcast, good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you may be. Ciao for now.
Sic transit gloria. Glory fades.